Welcome, everybody, to this week's series of training events from AgriLife IT. My name is Alan Kirk. I'm the CIO for Texas A&M AgriLife. I've held this position for the last 12 years. So wanted to welcome all of you who are attending today. We're going to be going over the use of Office 365 products on your mobile devices. That could be your cell phone, or it could be like an iPad tablet, for example. Today, we're going to do the demo on my cell phone, which is one of these new Microsoft phones. It's actually a dual screen phone. So if you're interested in dual screen phones, I would definitely check that out if you're an Android user. So we'll be using this today for the demo, and I'll be sharing the screen. But first, let me pull up our starting of our presentation real quick. So as many of you know, we're using Office 365 heavily within Texas A&M AgriLife. What many don't know is a lot of the things you can do on your desktop, you can do on your mobile phone device. In fact, I probably do 40 to 45% of the things I do on a daily basis through my mobile phone, as I'm pretty mobile around the organization. So today the format will be, we'll go through a demo of various Office 365 applications on a mobile device, and we'll do a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. But in the middle of the presentation, if you feel like asking a question, use the chat feature in Teams. And one of my colleagues, Bailey Teeter, our marketing and training coordinator, will assist in answering your question if she can during the presentation. If not, we'll loop back and answer the question at the Q&A session. So as I mentioned, Microsoft 365 is heavily mobile friendly. You can frankly do just about anything you do at the office on your office computer, and I'll show you some tricks of things you can do on your mobile phone that you can't really do easily on your computer at the office. The first thing I'll be showing is how do you get Microsoft Office 365 installed on your mobile device if you haven't already. We'll show you that real quick. And then we'll do a walkthrough of each of the following applications, which are the primary applications most people use today in the office. There are other applications you can use from Office 365, like Microsoft Forms, Microsoft Stream, which is the video component. But we're going to focus on these 7 today because those are really the most powerful applications used on a regular basis. So with that, we will switch to my mobile device. All right. So you should be seeing my mobile device. If somebody doesn't, please let me know, but that should be the case. So the first thing we're going to go through is how to install Office 365. So just so you know, again, you're looking at a 2-screen Android Microsoft Duo phone, which is like most Androids. You can swipe left and right and have multiple screens. So on mine, in order to get to most of the Android apps, I just swipe up. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm looking for the Google Play Store. And this is where I would type in Office 365. And this will bring up the various things you can select to install from Microsoft. The one here is the one I suggest you install. It's got the entire suite of applications, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Teams, and OneDrive. The suite is an older version of Microsoft Office, and it's really not Office 365. The other option, as you'll note, is they break out each of the applications individually. So if you just want to install specific Microsoft apps, you can select from here. And as you can see, there's quite a few. You've got everything from Microsoft Dynamics, you've got Microsoft To Do, Microsoft Planner, Microsoft Teams, OneNote, SharePoint, OneDrive, etc. But again, if you install that first one, which I already have installed, that will get you the whole suite. This is true on iOS or Apple iPhones as well. So you go to the Apple Store and look for Microsoft Office 365 and look for the similar icon and select that to do your installation. So I can't install it because I've already installed it, but it would do the normal installation process that you see when you install applications on your Android or iPhone. So you can kind of see on my home screen, I've got several of the applications kind of front and center. The three major ones I use on a regular basis are over here on the left. You've got OneDrive, right below it you have Office, and to the right of it you have the Calendar app. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through starting with the Office app. And the first thing you'll notice is you've got up at the top, you're in Home, we're in the Home view. You've got Recent and Shared Files. And as you'll note, up here at the top are the most recent files that I have opened or worked with. That's the actual PowerPoint presentation for this demo we're doing today. Here's some other spreadsheets I've worked on throughout the week. And these can be spreadsheets, Word docs, or what have you. Notably, you can also pick one of those spreadsheets and open it if you choose to do so. I'll go back to this test. This is a PowerPoint file I was working on the other day just for this demo. And as you can see here on my 2-screen phone, which is really cool, it brought up the actual PowerPoint on the other side. I can actually go into edit mode and start typing in text and actually go into a preview mode of that. As you'll note, when you're in edit mode, it's got a limited menu, but you can do notes, you can add graphics, you can do just about anything you can do in normal PowerPoint. You can also share from here the PowerPoint if you want to share it with someone to edit. And just to get out of it, I would click this arrow, and that closes that file and automatically saved any changes that I made. Down at the bottom, you've got kind of a more chronological view of recent files. As you'll note, the one I just opened is at the top, the one called Presentation. These are files I've opened today, and then these are files I opened yesterday, and then as you can see, it's going to this week, last week, and so on, and then older. So this scrolls for quite a while because this keeps literally a ticker tape of all the files I've worked on. Now the trick here is, if you attended our training a couple of weeks ago about file collaboration, all the files you're seeing here that I've edited or listed or presented chronologically, all these files are either stored in Microsoft OneDrive or Microsoft Teams. If you have the file just stored to your desktop, it will not show up here. That's why the beauty of file collaboration and getting to leverage things like the mobile apps, you really want to have your files in your OneDrive or in your Teams so you can access them from anywhere on any device. Now up here at the top right, next to the hourglass, we have a folder icon. I'm going to click on that. What this does, it just gives you a jump point to your OneDrive and to your Teams. It also gives you access to your personal OneDrive if you happen to have one, and I do, or files on this device. If I go to Sites, that's actually taking you to all the teams you may be a member of. And we have quite a few of them inside of our department. But if I click on the engineering team, I can actually go into various documents that we have within various folders within our team. I can also open those files from here if I choose to do so. If I go to my OneDrive folder, these are all the OneDrive folders that I have both on my computer and in the cloud in OneDrive. These are the presentations I'm doing over the last couple of weeks for these training events. They're all there. I can access them, open them, and edit them from this Office 365 application that we're in. So the other thing on the home screen is you've got up here recent and shared. If you click to shared, these are files that have been shared by others to me. So if you've ever used file sharing in Microsoft Office 365, you'll notice that you get an email from the system that says so-and-so shared this file to you, and then there's a link to click on the file. Well, you may be wondering, how do I get back to that file if I delete that email with that link and it's a week later and I need to get to that file that person shared with me? I don't know where it is. They just shared it to me in an email with a link. Well, this would be one way to do it. And you can also do it in the web portal on your computer and some of the apps on your computer as well. But if you're on your mobile device, this is how you do that. You would click on shared, and it would show you who shared what file to you by whom, and kind of in a chronological order. And again, you can open those files and edit. So if I click this is an Excel spreadsheet. It shows people that we're doing the migration with. Another neat feature of this particular phone I have is I can make the app go to both screens, so I can actually work on the document on two screens, or I can move that back to one screen and be able to work in another app side by side. So pretty cool technology, being able to get back to a shared file somebody shared with me last week, just at the tip of my fingers here on my mobile device, so I could have been anywhere in the world and done that. The other features I want to show you are under the Actions tab. This is where you can do some things that you not necessarily can do easily on your computer, but some of the different functions are here. Sharing files, you can transfer files to your Office computer. You either hit send and receive, and you can actually, there's a little quick setup you do between your computer and your phone to use this. Another is share nearby. You can actually share files to another user's phone. Say you're in a conference with someone and you need to get a file to them like quick. You can actually share this to them. It's via a Bluetooth connection. It'll transfer the file to their device. You actually hit send, and it will start to look for their phone. They put their phone in receive mode through their Bluetooth interface, and when their device shows up, you would click it and share the file. You can also take images or extract text from pictures you take. So let's say you took a quick picture of a document with your cell phone. You could actually use this image to text feature to scrape the text from the document or from the image and put it into a Word document, saving you having to retype something, for example. The next is image to table, where you can extract a table from a picture into Excel. So you can take, again, a picture and throw it into Excel. Here's some of the really neat features that make it easier if you're not set up for digital signaturing on your computer. One is sign a PDF. And I've been playing with this file this week testing, so I've already signed it a couple of times. But this is a PDF I had, and I can bring it up and I can tap to want to sign it. And what I'll do, oops, there we go. And when you first bring this up, it'll be blank, and you can create your signature, and then from there on, it will remember it, which is really nice. So all I do is I take this and click it, and then I can take my signature and place it on any document. So say you're out and about and somebody emailed you a PDF that needs your signature on it now, and you need to get it back to them. If you simply have the Office 365 app installed, you can open that file and then go to this, or open the file through the feature we just went through, and then signature that document. And then from here, you can save it, or you can't believe they don't have a share feature right here. But once you've saved it, you could come back over here. Pardon me one moment. There we go. You could go back to the document, and which should be right here. This document here is the one I just signed. And from here, I can take it and share it off to someone to get it back to them. Some of the other neat features under here are scan to a PDF. You can scan pictures into a PDF. You can create a PDF just full of pictures. You can convert a document to a PDF, be that Excel, Word, or PowerPoint, and they have a specific PDF to Word here. You can also scan QR codes or create a form. And one of our future training events will focus on this, but Microsoft Forms is a really unique survey application built into Office 365. It's actually integrated into Teams. It's integrated into here. It's integrated into email, where you can do real quick surveys and visually appealing surveys to people inside and outside the organization. The last thing I wanted to show you in the Office 365 app is, what if you just want to create a new document? You don't currently have a document, but you want to start one. The way you would do that is you click on the plus bottom at the bottom, and it has your Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Forms. So if we want to create a new Word document, it then brings up these options. I can dictate, I can scan the text, I can create from a template, but let's do dictate. I haven't actually done that, but let's see how that works. All right, so probably just broke the rule of thumb for all training events. Don't do something you've never done before. I thought it would bring up a quick dictation feature, but it didn't. So we'll skip that. Let's just do a normal Word document. We'll do blank document. And you can, start your document from here. putting in text and whatnot, and then just simply save it. So that's how you would go about creating a document real quickly. And as you notice, I didn't even give it a name. I just closed it, but it created a file over here today called document3. Now you may not want it named that, so you can rename it when you open it, or you can share it. I'm just going to remove that from the list because I don't want to see it. All right, so that kind of takes you through the Microsoft Office 365 application. It's kind of like the portal on the website. It kind of gives you an overall view of files you're working on, files you've recently worked on, files you've shared, and as we noted up here with the folder, an easy way to get to your OneDrive. You can also search from here. So if I do, I can put in like budget, annual budget, and it will pull up all the documents I've created with either that name or those phrases in it. So if you don't find your file here that you're looking, the search feature pretty much in all the applications is very powerful to find documents you can't find before. In fact, with all my files in Teams or OneDrive, I really don't track anymore where I put my files necessarily. I do have a folder structure. If you look at my OneDrive folder, I've got kind of a technique where I put AAA and then I put a folder name on things that are real important that I'm working on right now. And then things that are not as important, they're further down with their own unique name. So I have fairly structured method of storing my files, but I don't always put them where I thought I put them. And so the cool thing about Office 365, whether it's on the apps on your desktop or here on the mobile device or in Teams, if you can remember a few key phrases or text that are in those documents and search, you will eventually find it in that search response. So the next app I wanted to move into is Outlook. And here we have, many of you are probably familiar with your email app on your phone. With Android and iOS phones, you can choose the default mail application that comes with your Android or comes with your iPhone. However, we strongly recommend you use the Outlook email app instead. You can also add your own personal email accounts to it. I've added my Google account, so I can switch between my personal Google account and my work account from here. The reason we're recommending this are twofold. One, you get a richer experience with your whole email and calendar through Outlook for your device. The other reason is we're about to turn on, within the next few weeks, multi-factor for Office 365. And one of the side effects of that is older Androids and most of the iOS or Apple phones email clients will no longer function. Basically, unless it's a very new iOS phone with the latest Apple email client, they typically, if it's not that, or if it's an really old Android, those email clients do not support the latest secured connection technology. That's just where the industry's heading. We're all about trying to get things secure. And one of the primary reasons we're going to turn on multi-factor is because there are still hundreds of phishing attacks to AgriLife employees every week. And these are the emails that you receive. They look legit. They tell you to click on some link and give your username and password. And unfortunately, we have a lot of people still fall for that. And the only way to fight that is to put it so that in order for them to use your username and password, there has to be something else that they have to do too. And that's what multi-factor does. It stops them from actually getting into your account because they have to have your phone, they have to have the security lock on your phone and able to approve the login. So just a heads up, we'll be sending out communications about that. So for all of y'all on this call today, I would recommend after the training event, go and download Office 365, plug in your email account to Outlook and start using it. And you'll have, a lot better experience. So the first thing I wanted to show that will be helpful to a lot is how to set automatic replies from Outlook on your mobile device. Because say you went on vacation or you're out of the office and you're like, darn, I forgot to set my out of office message. I wish I would have done that, but I'm already on the road and all I have is my mobile phone. So the way you do that in Outlook is you go down to the bottom left corner here where you have a gear icon. I'm going to click on that gear icon. Then it shows your mail accounts. So I want to set the out of office for my AgriLife account. So I'm going to select it. And then right here, you have automatic replies. Mine's currently off. So I'm going to click on that. And it has a switch. And I can turn that on. What's cool is it remembers the last out of office messages you had set. So if you're like me and you kind of use a generic out of office and then you just change the dates, then you're good to go. It remembers what you used last time on your desktop. So you just edit the dates and you would click the check mark up there in the upper, or you turn on automatic replies, and then hit the check mark at the top to make that valid. So I'm not going to turn it on, so I'm just going to get out of here. The next option I wanted to show was some of the features in Outlook. Again, I'm going to go back to the gear icon at the bottom. And if you scroll down, you've got various types of options you can set up for your accounts. First of which is notifications. You can set up how the notifications appear on your phone, or email, or calendar, as we'll see later. You can also set up a default account, which is your default account in Outlook. So since I have my personal account and my work account, I've selected my work account because 99% of the emails I do every day are from work. You can also set up your signature. If you have a signature that you have at work on your Outlook at work, you can go to one of your sent emails and copy it, and then come in here and then paste that into your Outlook mobile client so that when you send an email, that is the footer or the signature that will be placed in your email. Another option are these swipe options. You can determine what to do when you swipe left or right when you're viewing an email in the preview mode. You can opt for to archive it, mark an email as read, move it to a folder, put it in snooze mode, pin it. Those are your options. I don't really use any of those. I just usually when I'm on my mobile phone and I'm swiping left or right, I'm wanting to delete it. So both of my swipe actions are set to delete. That way I don't have to think about which is which. The focused inbox is a way to pre-sort your emails based on your reading and or interaction with that email account. If I go back to my inbox view here, you'll notice up at the top under inbox, you have focused and other. And many of you may have this turned on with your Outlook client on your desktop computer as well. But if I click other, this these are emails I'm getting either from a vendor where they're sending it out to hundreds of people, or it's something that's not that terribly important to me, and the email I get from these people are not that important, so they go in the other folder. Whereas people here at work or people I'm doing a lot of responses or communications with, the system's actually learning who you're doing a lot of talking to, and it will keep those people's email in focus. That way, this isn't all cluttered up with all that kind of sort of important email, but not really important, intermixed with my really important email. So that's what that focused is. And I've got that turned off or turned on. If I turn that off, you wouldn't see the other, and all the kind of not so important email would be interlaced with all the important stuff. This next option, organize mail by thread, you can actually have your email box thread the messages. So rather than seeing every iterative email in your inbox where you're doing an email and somebody's replying to and you're replying back and you're seeing all their emails stacking up in your inbox, if you do the threaded option, it actually puts that on one line on your inbox view, and you can open it and it expands like kind of accordion style. So it keeps all that email thread together and not strung out in your email box. There's some options out here with calendar, same thing with notifications. Who's your default calendar? Do you want weather on and off? Does your week start on a Monday or does it start on a Sunday? And this option for workspace booking, which we don't use here currently. And there's various other options to use other calendar apps. Maybe you have a favorite calendar app that you want to use versus the Outlook calendar. So with that, I'll switch back to my inbox view. And if you notice at the bottom, we've got the envelope blue. That's because we're in the email view. Over on the far right, we have a calendar icon. So I'm going to click on that. And that actually opens a calendar view inside this Outlook mail app. I can go to a 3-day view. You can see here I can swipe left and right and access my events. This is this actual event we're in right now, where it shows various components of this event. I can forward the invitation. I can email back Bailey, who put me on the invite. I can join it from here. So if I were mobile and I wanted to join this team event, I would just click right here and join it, but I'm not going to do that because I'm already in it. And this is a very simplified calendar view. You can go to an agenda mode where you can kind of see things in more of a list view going forward. As you'll notice as I'm walking through the calendar events, it's changing the date up at the top. So it's a kind of cool interactive. You've got the little icons that you see on your desktop at work with people's pictures. And you can click on those and do interactive things. So nifty to have that built into your app. In the middle, you've got search. And this search, like all the searches in the Office 365 apps, are searching everything. As you note, it says mail, events, contacts, and files. So anything I search for will show up here. You're also seeing recent files you've opened, any to-dos if you use the to-do application, which I highly recommend. I don't use it, but I may start soon because it's interactive and it's built into here, and I could get into here really quick. Again, you can click on people's names and pictures and either phone call them or start a team chat. If I click on Bailey, it brings up all the emails I've had from her recently. That's from her. That's emails to her. Real quick and easy way to get back to emails that somebody sent you. Like you're looking for this email that Tim Ramsey sent you. You can click on his name, and it will pull up emails to and from him, and very, very convenient to get access to. I'm going to swipe out of this, and I'm also going to show you this other app here that's the actual same app that we were just in. You notice it took us to calendar view automatically, but what Microsoft did is they created a different launch application for it. So I'm kind of object oriented the way I think and do things in the day. And if I'm on my mobile phone and I'm like, I want to look at the calendar, I like to have an app called Calendar, and I click on it. Well, it just happens to be the same app as Microsoft Outlook is. So this app in the bottom corner here, the Microsoft app icon in my tray, this is the Outlook app, which is the same thing as the Calendar app. The Calendar app just takes you straight to the calendar. So just kind of nifty how they did that for people that think like me in that regard. So the next app I wanted to jump to real quick is Teams. A lot of y'all are obviously familiar with Teams or becoming familiar with it. This interface here should not look too foreign to you. Down at the bottom, you've got activity, chat, teams, assignments, calendar, and more. We'll kind of walk through some of these. The primary thing that I think is helpful is the activity button, especially when you're mobile, because you may have received alerts while you're driving or while you're eating, and you're like, okay, who is that sending me stuff in Teams? What was it? Rather than going to chat and looking around for who sent a chat to you, you can go to the activity feed, and it pretty much just lists all the recent things that have come in on Teams for you, and then you can click on that and jump to it. Before we jump into the app and see some of the features, I want to go across some of the settings. First and foremost, especially when you're on a mobile device, you may want to change your status. You notice mine is in presenting mode right now. That's because I'm actually in a team meeting presenting. So it's actually showing everybody it's going to chat with me or whatever, hey, he's in a Teams meeting chatting. It also automatically set me to do not disturb because I'm actually a presenter in a meeting. So Teams is smart like that. I can override that and set it to busy, available, or away, or offline, whatever I wish. You can also set what's called a status message. So if somebody texts you in Teams, this will show your status back to them as they message you or mention you in a Teams chat. Under the settings, you've got a plethora of things to look at. First of all, you can change your theme. I have mine in dark theme because I don't like bright white backgrounds on my applications, so you can toggle that here. You can also set a myriad of notification settings for different things that do notifications in Teams. One of the most unique things for notifications, especially on a mobile device, is when we first started rolling out Teams, we had a lot of people, we tell people how Teams works on your mobile device, and anybody can reach you anywhere, and they can text you or call you or whatever. And people are like, well, I don't want that to happen when I'm not working. I don't want to get that after 5. I don't want to get that stuff on the weekend. So the way to do that is go into notifications, and you can actually set what are called quiet days. So you could pick Saturday and Sunday, as I have, and make those your quiet days. You can also set quiet hours by setting, specific hours in the day. Like maybe you don't want to be bothered at lunch. You can make that a quiet hour, and you would be blocking notifications during that time. Another cool feature here is when active on desktop. I've got this turned on, and the reason I do is because I don't want my phone to buzz while I'm active on my desktop, because I'd rather it just do it there. And when in meetings, I could also set that on as well, which I don't have it on right now, and you may have heard it buzzing because somebody was sending me some chats. In fact, I'll turn that on now. So if you don't want to be bothered, you don't want your mobile device chirping at you when you're in meetings, it will disable the notifications. It's not that you won't see them later visually, it's just you won't get that notification. There's some things to do with data storage. You can clear temporary files, clear your app data, reset the database, clear history. This is just stuff to maintain your mobile phone if it becomes overloaded with file. If you need to clean off some files, for example, you won't actually delete files. You're just cleaning up temporary versions of the files that Teams may have downloaded. You can also see your profile. You can edit your image on your profile here. This is another nifty thing you might not be able to do on your desktop at the office so easily, but you could take a picture of yourself with your phone and then go to edit image, and it'll pull that image from your photo library on your phone, or you may have already a really good picture of yourself you'd like to use for your icon image in Office 365, and you could set that here. It also has your profile information that's set in the directory, and then other things like stats or activities, activity history, where it shows everything you've done through the mobile device or the mobile app. The other nifty thing I wanted to show you up here on the before you jump off into settings is this What's New feature. This is really neat. It actually jumps you to Microsoft web page, which shows you all the latest things that are coming out in Teams. And you can toggle between Android and iOS devices, by the way. So for example, it's showing these features came out during these months of this year. So really nifty to keep you up to date on things you can do there. So down at the bottom, again, you got activity, you got chat, where all your active chats are here. And like, for example, we're in this Teams meeting right now, and these are chats that you guys are actively doing in this meeting right now. Of course, Bailey's taking care of you because I can't focus on your questions at the moment. But these are all my active chats. You notice the little red icon with a 1. That's telling me that there's a chat that I haven't opened yet and viewed. Teams button will show you all the teams you're a member of. And I can jump inside of a team, inside of a channel, see chats that are going on, go to files, access any of the files shared by my team. And this one happens to be a picture. And this is one of our techs moving us out of Fibertown. I'm going to skip assignments. Assignments is really because we use the government or the educational version of Office 365, which all the TAMU members use. They have a built-in tab for assignments. It's for really those who are teaching with students. I know a few people are using this, but of course I haven't used it because I don't teach. But in here you can create assignments and assign them to your students. Apparently, it is pretty cool tech from what I understand. And then of course you have your calendar, and a couple of people asked in our last week's meeting, can you make your Teams calendar be your Outlook calendar? Just so everybody's clear on that, your team and Outlook calendar are the same thing. They're not different. If you go to Outlook and put something in your calendar, it will show up in Teams under calendar, and vice versa. It's the same calendar. There's no difference. So here you're seeing my calendar for the next week or so, and you notice the join button. So you can join Teams meeting from your mobile device. And if you have your camera on, people can see you and you can see files and whatnot. Under the More button, we have all the other features like files, where you can jump to files. And much like in the Teams version on your desktop, you can get quickly to your OneDrive and you can see recent files you opened. See those 2 image files I just opened? That's proof that this is tracking the recent files that I have opened so I can get to them quickly. For those of you in our organization that are using Microsoft Phone, as our department is, I can also make phone calls from here out of Teams, and it's from my office number, because wherever I have Microsoft Teams access, that is my office phone. So these are calls that I have received or made. If I had voicemail, I could click here and access my voicemail because I'm using Microsoft Phone Service. If you're not using Microsoft Phone Service, you will not see the calls option. Other apps here are various apps that we use or I use inside of Teams. And so those are showing up here. So if you use any of the apps, those would show up here. But primarily the 2 are calls or files to get you, or Task Planner is another that people use. Insights is kind of unique. I don't know if this will bring anything up right now, but it's built into your Outlook and your Teams, and it really gives you kind of an overall perspective of, how you're doing, how much time are you having to focus on your work, how many days and minutes, an hour are you spending doing emails or in meetings or whatnot. That's what the Insights functionality is. So real quick, moving along, because I know we're running out of time, I'm going to go to the OneDrive application. Over here, we have OneDrive, which brings up in home mode all your recent files that you've worked with or edited. You can click to Files mode, and that will show you your OneDrive folder structure. This is what I showed you earlier over in the app here, where I went to OneDrive here. Those are the same things, same identical. It's just allowing me to get access to things from different apps. I can also see files that I have shared in different kinds of views. So I can open any of these files if I wanted to. And then libraries, again, is taking you to your teams, all the teams you may be a member of. So I can go here to my business team with my business staff, and I can go to fiscal and my 2021 budget and access my spreadsheet right here, where we're tracking all of our tools for our finances for the department. Me just shows you photos, your profile, your recycle bin. So if you deleted something that was in OneDrive, this is where it went. Settings, not a lot here to mess with. The primary one is under Update. You can select to do updating of files or offline files that you put offline inside of OneDrive, either when you're on a Wi-Fi connection or when you're on Wi-Fi or mobile. Basically, there's a method to select files and tell it to be local to the device. And if I hit download right here, or if I click on make available offline on this particular file, what it did is it technically downloaded a physical copy of the file. If you notice, it's saying waiting for Wi-Fi, because I'm not actually on Wi-Fi right now. I'm on my cellular network. But when I next connect to a Wi-Fi signal, OneDrive will download this file onto my phone. I'll have a physical copy of it. So if I'm on an airplane and I want to make sure I could access the file and play with it and edit it while I'm on an airplane with no internet connectivity, that would be a way to do that. So again, OneDrive is real simple. It's just a view of your OneDrive files. You can open things and edit them or just view them, see things that have been shared to you, or click on files and share to them. Like here's our intro screen we used today for this meeting as an example. So the last part of our presentation I'll go through real quick is, and I kind of already did this, but you know, you've seen me opening files, whether it was a Word or an Excel or a PowerPoint, and it just naturally opens the file and you can go into edit mode. But again, just to recap, if you want to create a new file, you can go to the Office 365 app, pick Excel or PowerPoint or whatever, and it will start you a new document. And again, you don't have to necessarily give it a file name. You can just simply hit that arrow and it saves the doc, and soon it will show up in this list here. There it is. Yeah, it named that book by default. I guess it's a default name it uses for Excel documents. And again, you can rename that document or save as another name or what have you. So that is our demo for today. So I'm going to take some questions. If you want, you're welcome to unmute yourself and or continue to type them into the screen you have there. Bailey, is there any questions that we weren't able to answer while I was doing the demo that we need to go back through?
Yes, there were a few. Shannon, at the very beginning, was asking about recent files in Teams. Let me find the question here.
So if you're on the mobile version of Teams, you can go to More and then go to Files, and that will bring up your access to OneDrive, but also list all your recent files. And you'll notice that book spreadsheet I just created is now on there because we just created that a few seconds ago. This is much like on your Teams client on your desktop at the office. You would go to Files and you would immediately see this kind of view right here. And this is really, to be honest, this is how I access all my files throughout the day. I really don't go looking for them. I just go here and, know I was working on that file 4 or 5 files ago, and I'll go and I'll pick it like that and open the document. Did we have any other questions, Bailey?
Yeah. One of the other Shannon's asked if you could show the create a document button.
So yeah, we just did that a few minutes ago. So again, you can go to the Office 365 app, which is this app here called Office. Open the app, click the plus button, and you can create a note. You can take a picture. You can create a Word, Excel, PowerPoint, or Forms document.
Can you also show how you got to the account info in Teams?
Oh, okay. So when you're on the main Teams view, you can click on these 3 bars in the upper left corner, and that will bring up all these options you see here. If you want to click on your profile, you just click on your name. You do that again. Click on the 3 bars and then click on your name or your icon. And then you can, from there, pick Edit Image. You can also look at yourself organizationally. So this is a cool view. It shows that my boss is Dr. Balabina. So if I click on her, it actually shows who reports to her. If I click on Dr. Stover, it shows people that report to him. If I click on Brent Auberman up in Amarillo, you can see the people that report directly to him. So it's a neat way to walk the organizational tree as well, clicking on that icon right there.
Okay, and we do have a pretty good question here. So Ginger wants to know why you want to get your messages through Teams rather than through text messages or a different messenger application.
That's a good question. I'm a big advocate for separating personal life from work life, and so I receive no personal emails on my work account, just like I receive no personal chats in Teams, because everybody in Teams is people I work with at work. So like our team in IT, we're very mobile and we work late nights and weekends, and we're off in weird places doing things a lot of times. We used to use text chatting, SMS chatting, or chat apps on our phones, but no longer, because Teams is virtually a super enhanced on steroids chat app for work with all the other features, right? Files and shared files and all these other features that you have in Teams. So our whole department is converted from using old mobile texting to Teams. So all our chats are in Teams. The only people I receive text chats for on my mobile phone, on my mobile number, or through other chat apps, that's all personal life. So that's why we would highly recommend, if you're doing interactions or communications with people at work, Teams is a really nice chat app to use. Plus you can do video with it and you can do audio. When you're chatting with someone, there is a bar at the top where you can, choose to, you'll notice at the top there's a camera and a phone. And so if I needed to talk, if I was texting with Shane and we got into a long-winded conversation and I'm tired of texting and I can call him, I'm just going to hit that call button up there and it's going to call him. It's not going to call his cell phone. It's going to call him through the Teams app. It's not an actual phone call. Or if I need to see him or see what he's looking at, what's really cool on the mobile device is I can say, turn on your camera and point it at the thing we're talking about so I can see what you're talking about. So that's the other cool thing with Teams is you've got this kind of Swiss Army knife that you really don't get with other chat applications.
Let's see here. So Patricia was working on setting up her email on her Android. I believe Patricia has already been migrated, but her phone is still showing the adexchange.tamu.edu. She needs to go in there and change that to her AgriLife email, correct?
Yes. So in Patricia's case, if we go to Outlook and we go up here to the top and we go into the gearbox at the bottom, you're going to see a listing of your mail accounts. You may have both there. You may have just your old TAMU account. But either way, you need to get your AgriLife account added if it's not there. And you can do the add and then add email account if you don't see it listed like mine is here. And Patricia, you can call our help desk after this if you need help. And one of our support staff will gladly help you walk through whatever your particular situation might be. You may have them both loaded and you just have it set to the other one as your primary. it could be one or the other. So our team would be happy to help you figure that out.
Okay, and then on the flip side, Carissa has not been migrated and is trying to set up her email on her device. Is there a specific domain or email that she needs to use if she's on Tamu Exchange?
Yes, there is, and I would have to find out what that is because we don't support Tamu's email, so I don't know right offhand what it is. I think it's exchange.tamu.edu, but we can, if you want to send in a ticket to our help desk, we can look that up for you so that you can add your Tamu account for now while you're waiting to get migrated to AgriLife email. Theirs is unique because they're still using an on-premise email system. It is not Office 365 like ours, so that's why I don't know what their domain is, but I think it's exchange.tamu.edu.
Okay, and then I think the last one, Sylvia wanted to know if we could do a part 2 of this training.
Yeah, we definitely could. Bailey and I have been taking your feedback for these past 4 weeks, and we have a training event starting. We have our last scheduled training event coming up on this Thursday with our Tech Buy store, and I'm quickly loading the PowerPoint for that real quick. And then Bailey and I are going to take a little bit of a break next week and brainstorm with the input we've received from y'all in the past 4 weeks on putting together a whole new set of courses. We are for sure doing several more on Microsoft Teams because you could do a 200-hour training event and never get through everything you can do in Teams. It's just such a phenomenal tool. But yes, we'll definitely consider doing a part 2 of using Office 365 on the mobile because there was certainly a lot of things I didn't necessarily get into. I tried to skim across the top, really just to give everybody a good scope and feel of the breadth of things that you can do. I'll be frank, I learned something new you can do in the mobile interface every week. Not either it's because I just haven't done it before or Microsoft added it as a new option in the recent days or weeks. So this is one of the reasons why, as we specifically move people from the college to Office 365 environment, we want to reiterate, we've been using this environment for 4 to 6 years. At different times, different apps came along. Like, for example, Teams didn't come along until 2017. So we haven't been using, Teams for 6 years yet. It didn't exist then. But we've been using OneDrive and other features. And so we're very deep into this from an IT organization. And then our traditional agency employees are very deep into it. Some are using some of the Microsoft Power Apps, which I find amazing, doing some really cool data analysis techniques. But, unlike Zoom, where you can really just chat and share files, Teams is a much more robust environment. And for those of you joining us from the college, we're not telling you to stop using Zoom. That's not what we're saying, because we know a lot of you use it to interact with students, and the students like Zoom, and that's perfectly fine. But we also want to make sure you're not missing huge opportunities with all the collaboration features that Teams offers to augment your other work activities with others in your department or others in AgriLife or others across the world that you may be doing joint research with or activities with. It's a really powerful environment with a lot of features all built into one. I like to call it my cell phone on my desktop Teams because it has all these various aspects of things that you can do just like you can do on your own cell phone. It's a great analogy for Teams. It's literally like your cell phone, and it's somewhat as easy to use as your cell phone. in terms of its basic functions and then adding applications to do other unique things within Teams. Well, we're about 5 minutes past 11, and we all want to respect your time, but unless there's any other questions, we'll shut down this presentation again. Thank you for your attendance and your questions. Please try to join us Thursday at 10 o'clock to join us on our Tech Buy technology store presentation, where you'll get to find out how easy it is to buy computers and peripherals within AgriLife and have those on your desk within a few days at a much cheaper cost than if you were to buy them through the internet or somewhere else. All right, so thank you for your questions, Ricky. We will get back to you in person on your question. We're gonna go ahead and conclude our presentation for the day. And again, thank you everybody for your time.